Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So let's jump into this. This is going to be another specific message. And this is actually directly like I almost never remember my dreams, but I woke up this morning and this was still very much in my head. And I don't know, I have no idea, who the characters were in the dream or what, but the the image of this dream stayed in my head. So anytime something like that pops up, then I do a specific message. So what had happened is there were three men sitting at a table. It was very specific. It was like a round table, no tablecloth. But they were like in genuine conversation. It wasn't just like shooting the breeze. I saw beer bottles sitting there. Well, one had like a plastic cup, the other two had what seemed like beer bottles, but the one was most definitely like actually asking for advice. Now, I don't know. They could have been talking about how to fix a car. They could have been talking about sharing recipes, or they could have been talking about love. They could have been talking about, how do I proceed? But it seemed the context of it and the seriousness. By the way, one of the friends had very big puffy hair. I don't know, like anything else, like even clothing was kind of murky. Somebody had a t-shirt on. That's all I know. And somebody had big hair. But the person that was asking for advice, they were like really intently, and they were, going back and forth. Like he was getting good advice, and he was thinking, and like, oh, okay, but what if this? Then what? And I could just see, like, it was like I was a fly on the wall observing the scene of, like communicating, and actually this mattered. Whatever this was, it was, I needed some feedback, but they were getting genuine feedback, not BSing, not anything like that. So let's see where this storyline goes. I feel like since this is still very murky because I have no idea what the conversation was, let's start with that. Hi guys, great to see everybody. Denisa, Violet, AC, Nope, Travis, Nikki O, great to see everyone. Hola. Okay, so we have Six of Wands and we have the Eight of Wands. All right, so first off, the conversation may have been about a feminine who has an unusual sight, right? And I say that because her eyes are closed, but she's taken off her glasses, which are actually her eyeballs. And so we know she's, it's almost like, how does she know? Does she have extendo eyeballs? Like, I don't get it. Does she have laser vision? Can she, like transmit her vision into another room? Damn, she's good at it. I don't get, how does she know? How would she know this? Maybe they're talking about somebody who they're like psychic vision type stuff, or wondering like, what is the deal? How does somebody do that? Look, this is a specific message. So as sci-fi esque as it may sound, we're going for it. Okay, this could be remote viewing as well. We have the Eight of Wands, and the Eight of Wands shows like they're heavily discussing, somehow she has a way of bringing up topics that it's like she was there in the room with them when she wasn't. She'll start to say something, and it's like, this is almost eerie. How does she know a portion? She doesn't have all the pieces, but she got a hell of a lot of it. You notice that we have this artist's palette here, and then the colors are painting this picture, and it's an incomplete picture because we have this woman riding on a horse through the trees, but part of the horse is missing, part of the forest is missing, but enough of it's there that we know she's painting an accurate picture. There's something about the words that she says, and I always think of an artist palette as our mind. That's where we paint pictures from. And then Eight of Wands is our communication. So however she expresses it. I mean, unless maybe she thinks of things and then paints them, and it just happens to correlate with something that's actually going on. All they're saying is, I don't get it. How does she do this slam dunk thing where, how does she see when she couldn't have seen something and yet she gets it right? She regurgitates something that is spot on. She brings up something, it's like she's reading my mind. So this could be a man who is sitting there with his buddies saying, I don't know, that whole woman's intuition thing is off the charts because my lady, like, she can bring up things that I was thinking about 20 minutes ago, and she'll say 90% of what I just said, but we weren't talking about it. I didn't say it. There was no reason for her to know that was on my mind. How the hell does she do it? This could be somebody who's just like marveling about their partner and how much their partner knows them so well, even if she's missing bits of pieces of it. Let's keep going. Eight of Cups. Why is he This is about either walking away, like it's freaking me out, I want to walk away. We have the Hermit. But now there's this energy of, I don't think it's walking away. I think it's more along the lines of, he's talking about someone who can fill in all kinds of blanks. And I think he's liking this because this hermit is at the end of their hermit's journey, right? The egg has been cracked, and we have someone standing here who is holding this. They're holding the sun, but the sun has an eyeball in it. It is, I would almost say, synonymous with like our pineal gland being open or our third eye. It almost feels as if, by the way, he could be a Virgo. This is a masculine that we have here. He may be saying like, I don't get it, but it's like she knows me better than anybody. Like, I've had relationships where I was with them 10 years, 8 years, and they never knew this much about me. And yet this person, how does she know so much about me? How does she read me? I don't get this. I don't know how who she is to them or what it is that they're saying, but they're acknowledging that there's something almost eerie in a good way going on, because this actually is making them happy. There's something here about like this kind of psychedelic vibe here. I still feel like they are mind blown by how well this feminine seems to read them. Now, let's see if we can figure out then, what are the friends saying in response to this first little portion? I know we don't have the whole story yet, but let's go with this deck. What are friends saying, those two friends, in response to this? 7 of Cups in the reverse. They're like, dude, just go with it. Like, what are you pondering? So like, maybe she's just on your wavelength. Maybe she's the same kind of person. Why is it so like confusing? What is there to be so confused about? You know, a lot of people like, how about this? Like, millions of people, for reasons unknown, like lime green jello, right? They still make lime green jello because people like it. I don't like it, but a lot of people do. There's a whole lime green jello club. Millions of people, you know, humans are not really that different from each other, right? If you go all the way back to the BC era and you start listening to the stories of mythology, you will discover that many of those stories between like Zeus and Hera, the husband and wife, the Olympian gods, they were cheating on each other, and there was jealousy and there was petty games being played, right? Even in the BC era, human beings told stories about cheating and jealousy and love and, you know, all those same human attributes that we have today. You could take those stories minus some of the magical elements and put it in today's world, and guess what? It still holds true. So I don't really think that the friends are saying it's not that crazy that she would know you so well, because maybe she's just the same kind of person as you. Maybe she likes the same kind of stuff. Maybe she really is just, you know, like a bunch of friends who hang out together. They'll have, you know, similar jokes. They'll think about stuff. Maybe they watch the same television program. They have the same reference point, the insider jokes. These friends are also, though, okay, so there's an element of like, I don't get why this is so weird. Just go with it. And then the other element is, this is both the god of all wisdom and knowledge in the Egyptian pantheon of gods. He gave human beings words and arithmetic. And in this deck, they call it the teacher, but this is actually the Hierophant. So it's Taurus energy. And the Hierophant is normally the card of belief systems, connection to our higher self, cards of things that we can actually like really have a conviction for. So, you know, marriage, something that I'm doing this. I am signing my name to this contract. This is who I am. This is who I want to be with. It almost feels like these friends are saying like, well, go figure out like, what is the bond here? Don't be weirded out by it. And then like, if she's the right one for you, or if there's something going on between the two of you that's really important, really special, maybe this is the person you're supposed to meet. If you're drawn to that, go figure it out. Like, they're not quite jumping on the, like, they're making it more rational, right? They're saying, big deal. So it seems like you fit well with this person, or she fits well with you. Figure out if that's the one. I mean, how great would that be if you guys are in sync like that? But probably there will be some differences still. You know, you're not really the same person. But they're just kind of like saying, go figure it out. You know, learn what it is about this person, the similarities, the things that are unsimilar. Obviously, you've got some things that are identical. You know that it won't be 100% identical. You know, these friends seem to be like laying it out with a more reasonable, like, don't put too many expectations that somebody's gonna like magically have magical powers, that they can always read your mind, and you know, they're the other half of your soul across time and space, but more legitimately, like, don't deny that there's something here, but also figure it out, go learn about this person. I mean, that's basically what you'd have to do, is spend some time. You know, don't blindly commit yourself and have really high expectations. Four of coins. This is like, and one of them might be saying, you know, don't get crazy over this person. Don't go nuts over her. Hold on to your like sense of stability. Go figure it out, but don't just like fall head over heels in love, or don't give crazy amounts of attributes just because there's something that is so uncanny about her. Okay, let's go over here. I mean, I think that's all like kind of grounded. You know, they're basically saying be a critical thinker, but get out of the magical headspace. And so what? Maybe you guys have a lot in common. Maybe you guys would be a great match. Maybe you could marry each other and be amazing together, but don't just assume that. Just get to know the person. I feel like that's really much more grounded advice. How is he responding? Because we had him over here saying that, like, oh my God, nobody gets me the way she has. What's his response to the friend's advice? The Hierophant. He's like, I already know. I already know she's the one for me. I already know I'm going to marry her. It's like I had a flash and this is my person. This is the person that, I don't know, she's the other key that unlocks my book, the book of my life, the book of love. He's actually going through kind of like a sci-fi moment himself. It's not that he's applying it to her. It's him experiencing this. That's what that third eye is opening up on him. That's what the Hermit is. There's something here that he's trying to explain to his friends. It's not so much about her, it's about him. I think he's sure of this in a way he's not been sure before. And maybe that's really what he was trying to say is, have you ever been so sure about someone without knowing why? There's this weird, you know, like tethering of my thoughts to hers. I already know she's the person I'm supposed to be with. She's the one I'm going to marry. But it's like, how could I know this already? Why would it be weird for him to know this already? High Priestess, Five of Pentacles, because he doesn't have any reason to. The High Priestess picks up on the subconscious, picks up on the energy world that exists. We could say the energy between all living things, the stuff that, there's many things in life. I've definitely had experiences in my own life where there's just some stuff that you know, and it doesn't make any sense. You just know. And there's no point in saying it. There's no point in fighting it. There's no point in trying to, like, you know, scientifically, objectively figure it out, because anybody can tell you anything and you go, yeah, I know, it doesn't make sense. Yep, I know you can quantify it and you can slice it up and you can tell me that this isn't true, but I know it's true. I know this is what's going to happen. I know, and sure enough, that's correct. You know, there are some things where you don't know why, you just know. And I don't have any better explanation, but I have been in those moments, not often, but there have been moments in my life where I absolutely knew, and they were big things in life. They weren't the little, you know, it's not like, oh, I know that the inside of this, whatever, dum wrapper, this one's going to be root beer flavored. You know, I'm not talking about little dumb things like that. I'm talking big stuff once in a while, but it's rare, but it's like that intuition. I wonder if maybe it's like when you're on the life path that is truly resonating with you and you can trust it. You lay yourself on the train tracks for that. But it's weird because there's literally no evidence to support this for him. With the Five of Pentacles, in fact, there's less than none. It almost feels like this is some bizarre vacant space. Like, I don't know if this is one of those things where he's barely interacted with her and yet he knows. If there's been I don't know how they could have had zero interaction exactly. Well, yes, of course. What am I saying? Of course. There's many ways that you could have zero genuine interaction face to face and still, know of someone, right? This is a world full of social media, online photography, you name it. But this says that he's had dialogue with her somehow, but not that kind of dialogue. Not the I don't think these two have been in a romance, let's put it that way. And it feels like, then how would he know without having dated somebody that this is a person I'm going to marry? Because when you know, you know. That's just what this is. And he's having that moment in his life that maybe not everyone has. Maybe some people do. You always hear that when you ask like a couple who's been together for so long, and you go, "How did you know it was them?" And they're just like, I just knew." And it doesn't make sense. And sometimes it'll be I knew as soon as I met them. And sure enough, they were right. And, here they are 65 years later. It doesn't mean that their life is, oh, so perfect. It means they already knew this is the person I'm doing life with, come hell or high water, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I just feel like that's where he's at. He just knows this. And that's what he's sitting down trying to maybe explain that part. Like, how is it that I know this? And I think that the friends they're looking at it more from the perspective of her, because I think that's the way he presented it. But I think it's more about him, because the hermit's always going to be a personal journey. So this divine masculine has discovered something that is basically, he's discovered the truth of who he is. And he's learning, or has learned in a moment, how to trust his inner voice. And I'm thinking that Ace of Swords, it's again, it's just the truth. It is what it is. His guides have spoken loudly to him. He knows what he knows. I'll say he's heard like his soul song, but let's put it that way. Let's make it poetic. We do have very strong Taurus energy, but I almost feel like this is coming across as like really powerful, like almost stubborn energy. Like you couldn't budge this man from what he knows to be true right now. His friends can't rationalize it, nor are they trying to dissuade him from this, but he himself knows there's really no point in him even discussing this, because it's not going to change what he's already going to do. It's not going to change what he already knows, because you can't unknow stuff like this. We could have again, strong Virgo. He could be a Virgo because of that hermit, but also Cancer and Pisces coming in. But this is a truth that is simply what it is. So what is it that you're going to do next? Are you just still communicating with friends? Are you just marveling over this? Or did talking to them bring you back inward and make you realize that I don't really need outside advice? I mean, all of this says he's more powerfully confirmed, even though, remember, one friend said, hey, go with it, get to know her, but who knows, maybe she's just somebody you'll vaguely meet. Don't expect things to go too well, hold back a little bit. And after hearing that, he's like, nah, I'm more sure than ever. Like I'm pretty much all in. I know that this is the right person for me. As much as somebody else tells him good advice about like not putting a magical spin on it, he's like, too late, super magical. And I know it. But it brings him around to the Two of Pentacles, which is weighing something. What is he thinking about? Because I feel like his conversation has veered off away from friends' advice. He no longer needs friends' advice. If anything, they strengthened what he knows to be true. And he knows that the friends don't know what he's talking about. It's something only he knows. What he's weighing and measuring is with the Ace of Cups sideways. Okay, how am I actually like moving toward her? With the purpose of love, how do I move my thoughts about her into like physical contact in the romantic sense? How do I do this? 8 of Cups, 4 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, and the Sun. Okay, so this is crazy though, because there's a little piece of him that wants to say, I don't want to know what I know. Maybe I could instead of moving toward her, because that's a whole nother thing then, right? This is a man who's at a moment in his life where he can either do what he knows in his soul is his path, or he can reject that path to stay you know, single and free, pretend he didn't ever meet her. And for a moment, he's like, maybe I can pretend that I don't have this connection. I can cut this cord, forget all about her, and pretend that I don't know what I know, that this is somebody that I'll never meet somebody like this again. This is on my life path. This is a connection, but maybe I can cut this energetic cord and then what? Regret it for the rest of my life? Four of Cups, go into basically hiding from my own intuition, pretend I don't know what I know. Or on the other side of this is I go ahead and I move toward her and I already know what it's going to be. It's going to be a 10 of Pentacles. It's going to be support. It's going to be love. It's going to be a different life. It's going to be happy. So which am I going to do? I kind of think it's good that he is asking himself the questions of, because he has choice. Every character has choice, but he's really asking himself, because right now he's so connected to his soul. He is so connected to his personal, like, what do I know to be true? This is maybe the realest, truest thing he's ever been able to like acknowledge in himself. Like, we all have stuff that we kind of know is going to work out for us. You know, we kind of have a pretty strong idea of, you know, if we get interested in something and we start learning how to do it, and then it's like, no, even if I'm not good at it yet, I already know I can become proficient at this. You know, that's how we choose careers that might be like, you know, a small percentage of people make it in a certain career. It's like, yeah, but I'll be one of those because I know I'm interested. And although I don't know the material yet, I know I can learn. I have an aptitude for this. I have a drive for this. There are things like that where you just know that this is your path because that's where your interest lies. But now we're applying it to kind of like the love of his life and what his future is going to look like. And he still has the choice. We can always choose to not go after the pathway that we actually believe is right for us and the one that we truly want, because it could be scary. It could be really intense. It'll change things. We could choose to try to ignore something that we'd be really good at or something that would be right for us. But either that thing will still sit there and someday we'll come face to face with it again, or we'll never be able to really forget it. And it'll forever be the thorn in our side of the biggest regret of, why didn't I do that? That was something so right for me. And why did I take a left turn? You know what I think is great is that all of this is purely him making decisions. I don't even think he's really interacting with her very much. So all of this thought process is just him figuring out for himself. And I think everybody has to just figure out their life path, because especially with stuff like this, where it's that high priestess, where the only person who knows what they know is the person who's living it, right? Nobody can really give him advice. Only he can ask himself, and hopefully his inner voice is loud enough and clear enough to tell him, what do you actually want? You already know what you're going to do. I think he already knows, but he is pausing and saying, I have the choice. And I think that's good too, to remind ourselves, I don't have to do the thing that every fiber of me says I want to do, or that I even believe will work. I don't have to. It's still my choice. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We have the Hermit again at the end of the Hermit's journey. This really could be a Virgo. And as he comes up the final staircase, you see that there's a light at the top, right? He's found his inner compass, and that inner compass has already shed light to this. Now, sure, he could choose to walk away from this particular staircase and not go to that bright light, which I believe is probably her. But we already know he's not going to be able to do that. This is him saying, all right, here I go. This is it for me. This is the direction I'm headed. We've got the Six of Pentacles. It is sideways. This storyline has to begin somewhere with him either connecting to her, reaching out to her, offering some kind of communication and waiting to receive something in return, right? He wants to receive something from her. We can see that. But this feels very much like anytime I get those sideways cards, it's the shared energy. I think if he walks to the top of that staircase, which is kind of like the mental, emotional staircase in his mindset, if he goes and follows that, this is what that light is at the top. There's only one thing for me to do now, and that is to begin giving energy to this connection. Ooh, why Eight of Swords? Is that the moment of like, what do I say? How do I start this? How do I begin talking to somebody that I think is this freaking mystic that I feel my whole life has brought me to her, and now I know that I'm choosing this path. What do I open with? What are my first words? Eight of Swords is communication and thoughts. So what do I need to say? Wheel of Fortune. It says it'll come to him. He will, even if he pauses for, this is card 10, maybe he'll pause for 10 hours, 10 days, whatever. Doesn't matter. You've already chosen the path. You've already walked the top of the staircase. So not to worry. Making a decision and going in a certain direction, he doesn't have to get all stressed out. If he doesn't know what to say, if he's tongue-tied, it's okay, because there will be something else, part of the universe's plan, because he's now rolling with the universe, right? He's rolling with the big dogs now. He just chose to do the bravest thing of his life, which is to simply listen to what he knows to be true, even though there's not tangible evidence. He just chose to step into the actual flow of manifestation, the actual flow of the universe, the life force energy. This is maybe the most important way to, I'll say, create the life that we feel we're supposed to have. You kind of got to lean into it without knowing why you know it's going to work, but you just do. It's not like somebody taking a big risk and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go out and gamble all my money on red. It's not like that. This is small potatoes in the scheme of gambling, right? Gambling with a life choice. This is not dangerous. This is simply him saying, I believe wholeheartedly that this person is important to me and I need to be interwoven to them. That's very small potatoes in the scheme of life. However, it's not, if this is the love story, the partner that's going to have your back for the rest of your life, the empire you could build together, could have far-reaching implications. But let's not over dramatize how seemingly very silly and simple it is to just say, I just know that I like that person. She's something really special. I need her in my life. I got to get to know her. Like, that sounds real easy now, doesn't it? So it's a huge thing. And it's also, let's put it back in perspective. But it's him just going with what he knows to be true. That's where the big energy shift is. And the universe is now going to help him because he just stepped into the flow of the universe. I'm picturing somebody who's like, they finally went ahead and they put their inner tube in the river and they hopped on it. And they're like, okay, what do I do now? Well, if you're floating on an inner tube down the river, you're going to go where the river takes you. So just kick it now. All you got to do is lay back. You will, if you hear the sound of rapids all of a sudden, you'll probably know, probably a good time to pop on out. You'll listen to the signs and signals around you. So I think he's going to know, or he's going to see an open space all of a sudden, that this is the moment I talk to her. This is the opportunity. It's like the opportunity will present itself. It doesn't mean he has to like wait and, like a cat poised ready to spring on a mouse. It's chill out. The opportunity is going to arise and you'll be able to talk to her. Just, you've already hopped on the inner tube. You're floating down the river. Everything else gets easy now. The first step that he had to make was acknowledging, I know she's important. I know it, come hell or high water. The second thing he had to do was ask himself, so do I want to be open to this? Do I want to acknowledge it and say, yeah, I want her in my life? Absolutely. And that's where we're at right now. What happens next is the opportunity will now present itself for him to connect to her. And that will be, I feels like it's going to be one of the easiest, smoothest relationships ever. If he was worried about the awkwardness, like how do you start dating somebody? What do you start saying? I think all of that is just going to flow. Like, I almost feel like these two are going to be able to, I don't know, like it maybe just very serendipitous, or something will just kind of, again, it's leaf on a river, right? Or leaf on the wind, however you want to say it. What about for her? That's just, and I'm just going to leave that there. It's not a great question, but what about for her? That's the worst sentence ever. We have Temperance and we have the Three of Pentacles. So she's very much at peace. She already has that same element of trust, comfort zone. She She knows how to leaf on a river too. She's got some kind of inner peace about her. She may be really good at picking up universal messages. She doesn't question it. She may be somebody who takes information and passes it right on the other side of her mouth. Whatever she context clues she picks up on, she doesn't even bother to wonder, like, am I psychically picking up on this vibe or that? She just kind of is like a little antenna that picks up stuff, repackages it, and says stuff. She keeps energy flowing through her, and she just rolls with that. It's something where it's like, her comfort zone is that she works with the flow of the universe. And I feel like I could understand how he would be like, how does she know this? I do feel like she may be a little bit of like I don't want to say an agent of the divine exactly, but she just kind of is the antenna. Maybe she is a little telepathic, doesn't know it, doesn't care, doesn't break it down, doesn't worry about it. It's like, oh yeah, well, I always assume that the right stuff will pop out or pop up at the right time. So I just kind of go with it. It feels like she's a little along those lines, almost like she knows better than to try to dissect it too much. Just roll with it. The universe has always kind of provided me with what I needed to know at the time I needed to know it. So I guess it'll keep going that way. End of story. Let's just keep flowing. There's definitely, with that Three of Pentacles, she puts her energy toward things. Now, there is something about communication here. So she may have communicated something to him. Maybe she wrote him something. Maybe this is where he was like mind blown, and she doesn't even worry about it. It's just like, I don't know. I say what I say when it comes to my head. I don't know. There's something about a communication. But with that Three of Pentacles, that Two of Cups. Look, I'm not trying to paint her as somebody who has like la-di-da, like she's floating with her feet never touching the ground. But we kind of are describing her that way because she's in a vibe of, she already knows that he's important to her too. So she's got to know of him. And maybe for her, it's as simple as, well, anyone who stands out to me, they must be important, right? How's that so hard to understand? Why would I not? Why would I not just roll with that? Not everybody stands out. There's 8 billion plus people on this planet, but lots of people, you walk by and you don't like rubberneck because they stand out to you. And then some people do. Maybe it's their aura, maybe it's the connection, whatever it is, I don't care. I just know what I know. I see it and I go with it. I kind of love the fact that she is not making life hard. She just rolls, which is really nice. All right, let's get one more here. For her, we've got the Knight of Swords. We've got the Nine of Wands. We got the Five of Pentacles. And all this is sideways. It's funny because even though she knows what she knows, she's like, yeah, but anything could happen. Things can happen slow or fast. Sometimes there will be missed opportunities. Sometimes things will suck because they never get off the ground. But you really have to assume that it'll go the way it's supposed to go when it's supposed to go. Otherwise, you can sit around being grumpy, or you can move too fast in the wrong direction. You can't be too impulsive. You can't be too forceful, nor can you afford to just sit back and do nothing. But somewhere in between there is like, when the moment arises, that's when you snatch it. That's how you got to live your whole life. Too soon, too late, too lazy, none of it's any good. You got to just listen for the moment, and then you do whatever the inner voice says. Okay, so she's somebody who may really live according to, again, whatever the flow of the energy is that she's tapped into. That kind of looks like these two are going to be an amazing match, because there really isn't going to be any blockage. There's not going to be any blockage. She's going to completely accept this person when he reaches out to her, because she's already been like, oh yeah, he stood out to me too. Hardly anybody does. So I know this one's really special. She's not going to think this is weird. She's not going to think anything is awkward or strange. She'll be completely like, I picture these two like meeting for the first time ever, and it's like an embrace. Even if they're not in that context of being able to walk up and hug each other, they just will. There's just a comfort zone of like, what do you mean? I knew I was going to hug you. That's just how that has to go. It feels very surreal, but it also feels like, when you look at little kids and you know, they learn that when they meet another little kid, they just decide that they want to go hug them. That kind of energy is what we've got here. It's like kids don't overthink it. Kids don't analyze, if I hugged this other baby, what would the baby think? Kids could care less, they go with exactly what they feel like. Pets too, they decide, I've never met you, but you're going to pet my fur a lot. My belly too. Hey, get the armpit, like pets just do what they feel because they're going off of instinct. They're not bothered by, am I not allowed to get pet by this person because I don't know them well enough yet? Obviously, this is not encouraging people to go out and get in cars with strangers. No panel vans and strangers offering us candy. I am not encouraging that. I'm just saying this is a story where we have two people that obviously somehow they're already slightly vetted, right? They're both normal, functioning, non-threatening human beings. That's what this storyline centers around, is two people who have some obvious awareness of one another already. And there's obviously already a connection that just hasn't been acted upon. And that was the context of this story. All right, you guys. Alma, you're cracking me up. Hey, RS, Miss So the Peaceful Observer, great to see you. You guys, thanks so much. Denisa, wonderful to see you also. All right, I'm going to bounce on out. Nikki O, hey, babe. Thank you so much. AC. No, we're going to have to talk. We need to have an intervention. No, you mustn't do that. Christy B. Thanks, you guys. Really good to see everybody. Travis Rhodes is in the house. Chamfer Sync. Voyager 2. Awesome to see you. I love that, brown-eyed girl. Love that. Hey, Erica. Thank you for the heart, love. Insert name here. Awesome to see you. Hi, Mirabuka. Mon's in the house. Hi, honey. Ophanium Tarot. Forgive me if I said your name wrong. Thanks for being here. Dawn. Hi, honey. I know, right? Route 66. Hey, Cassie. Oh my God, that's awesome. Ophanium Tarot, you're going to see the band Green Jello tomorrow night. That is amazing. Oh, I love that. I did not know that there was a band named Green Jello. So like right now I'm thinking Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, but I heard them perform Green Onions once before, but that's so crazy. I'm gonna have to go look up Green Jello. Hi, Patricia. Penny, great to see you. Nora A, thank you, love. So good to see you. Thank you again, Nora A, so many times over. You're so generous. Tammy Secord. And Violet, you made it in right behind Denisa. Thanks again, guys. All right. I will see you all a little bit later on this evening on the other channel. Don Divine, hey, you're perfectly on time, Don. Great to say hi to you. Hey, Calm C. Christy V, thank you. You're so sweet. Suman, hi. Sarah J, awesome to see you down there. 11D8. Oh, thank you, love. Good to see you. All right, guys. Slave Princess, hey, beauty. All right, everybody. Dwayne Anderson, hi. I almost never catch you in a live. That's awesome. All right, guys. Lots of love. I will see you a little later on the other channel tonight. We'll do a single story on my main channel, Case Regretless Life. And we've got some zodiacs to get out too. So, all right. Bye, everybody. Take care.